Did you know that every woman has a unique power archetype that shapes her relationships, shapes her confidence, and even her destiny, oftentimes without her even knowing? In this video, I'm going to help you uncover which of the 10 power archetypes is secretly running your life and you resonate most with, and how this awareness can unlock new levels of magnetism, self mastery, and overall fulfillment. You learn how these archetypes are not just ancient myths, but living energies within you waiting to be claimed and embodied. If you're new here, my name is Silvana Kamala, and I help women transform their wounds into power with my method, Venusian Tantra. Today, we're gonna be getting into the actual core Venusian Tantra, which is the power archetypes or tantric archetypes. And if you're new here, just Venusian Tantra is a methodology of healing, transformation, and self-mastery that combines Shakta Tantra, which is ancient Shakti Tantra, but it's called Shakta Tantra, Jungian psychology, shamanism, and evolutionary astrology. And these four tools give us one method to understand our own way of being and relating to our power, to our wounds, to the world. And it's a blueprint for learning how to use everything that happens in your life, especially the things that you carry related to your pain, related to the ancestral wounds that maybe run in your family, and how to transform these into power. So power needs a container, and the 10 tantric archetypes are that container. So that's what you'll be learning today. So in order to begin this journey, I'm gonna give you, this is gonna be not a regular YouTube video, but it's gonna be more of a class. I have my notes over here, and we're gonna start with the one that is easy to attain, the archetype that is right here and in the surface that we can see, because that is our doorway to finding deeper levels and basically unlocking the rest of the archetypes. So every woman, no matter how polished, how educated, uneducated, culture, modern, or wild she is, has an aspect of herself that is untamed. This is an inner force that did not submit to the control of the world, to these patriarchal models that basically enslaved all of humanity, men and women, all of humanity. It's a part of our psyche that simply said no. Other parts adapted, submitted, but this part, because it didn't want to submit and adapt, it simply got repressed into our psyche, and it comes out in ways that are basically a surprise for us as well. This part of you is your tantric power archetype, because it's the part of you that, regardless of the conditioning of the world or the conditioning of your mind, it comes out. It's alive, especially when you're pushed to the edge, where when your boundaries are crossed, when you fall in love, when you create something bold, something new, when you break free from something, or when you just, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but there have been times in my life where I'm like, whoa, who was that? What was that, right? This part of you, like, of course, there's the part of the shadow that comes out, but this is the part of you that, yes, it's in the shadow, yet it's divine and is full of power and life force. And what we're gonna do today is try to make an introduction with this wild part of you, because this is going to be your guide through the internal process of Venusian Tantra. So we're going to start by exploring the 10 tantric archetypes. These are going to be the map of your inner world. And there might be, I'm going to name them, but you might notice that there might be a few that you strongly resonate with, maybe a few that you really reject. But let's start by exploring them all. So before we begin, each of the power archetypes is going to be connected to a planet. It's also going to be connected to a Mahavidya, which is one of the 10 phases of Shakti. And it's going to be connected to a Jungian archetype and to a power animal of shamanism. Why? Because all of these are symbols. And whenever we have a symbol and we understand that all of these symbols mean the same thing, we have more room to explore and to see in what areas of our life do these power archetypes come alive. So I'm going to start by going through the 10 power archetypes, and I'm going to list out their associations. With the associations, you will get enough to know which one you resonate with the most. So the first power archetype is the Guardian. The Guardian is associated to the planet Saturn. It has the tantric power of purification. And the Jungian archetype associated with the Guardian is the Virgin or Maiden. The power animal is the deer, and the Mahavirya is Kali. When we put all of this together, the Guardian becomes the protector and the guardian of innocence. And even though women that embody this tend to be more reserved, more pulled back, have more of a colder exterior, deep down there's this deep power, which is the power of Kali, which is the power of I will do whatever it takes to protect what is innocent. The Virgin and the Maiden, they are only available for the most divine, for divinity itself. The Virgin archetype is not sexual virginity, it's a spiritual virginity. A virginity of I will not be penetrated by anything other than the purest of the pure. The next archetype is the Teacher archetype. It's associated with the planet Jupiter, and it has oracular power. This power archetype has the gift to guide other people. And the Jungian archetype associated with this is the orphan or the wounded child. The power animal is the wolf, and the Mahavirya is Tara. When we put all of this together, we get the teacher, and the teacher teaches from knowing pain, from wisdom, because only going through challenging experiences and understanding the duality of things, we get to really feel compassion for ourselves and for other people. And with that, we get the ability to guide, and the power that we get with this archetype is oracular power, which is I see the light, and because I see the light, based on my own inner darkness that I had to go through and face and conquer, I am able to guide other people in this. The third power archetype is the Queen, and the Queen is associated with the Sun. She has the power of revolution and disruption. Her gift gives her the power to rule. The Jungian archetype is also the Queen, and the power animal, the lion. The Mahavirya associated with the Queen is Matangi. When we put this together, we understand that the Queen archetype is not the queen because she inherited the kingdom or because she married a king. She is a queen because she broke boundaries. She embodied her own light. And with her own light, she was able to free herself. The queen overall is a rule breaker. And because she's a rule breaker, she creates a new domain, and that domain becomes her queendom, and that's what she rules. She has command over the spaces that she has broken out of. Matangi is the Mahavirya associated with whatever is left out in society, the outcasts, the people that have no place in the world. So putting this together, it's like I become the queen of the outcast, the queen of what the patriarchy did not allow to exist. And it's a very powerful archetype, and embodying the essence and the royalty of the lion. You are able to recognize women that embody this, because it's not that they are socially accepted and giving the place of queen by the systems that we have in place. It's more that they are queens of their own essence. They are self-named queens. The fourth archetype is the Enchantress. The Enchantress is associated with the planet Mercury. Her tantric power is that of magnetic power, and she has the power to sweeten. The Jungian archetype associated with the Enchantress is the divine child. The power animal is the hummingbird, and the Mahavirya is Lalita Tripura Sundari. The Enchantress, the divine child, and the power to sweeten things. Women who embody this are the types of people that wherever they are, there's this lighthearted, playful essence that reminds everyone around them of their own inner child. The hummingbird carries energy to heal the heart chakra, and the heart is also associated with playfulness, is our deepest essence, is that inner child within. That divine child just flows through in the presence of the woman, and the reason why they are the enchantress is because there is a certain aspect of being able to captivate everything around them. This is the power of Lalita Tripura Sundari, the Mahavidya coming through in the archetype, and then also the power of magnetizing. One interesting thing about Mercury, Hermes, is that it was the only god that was able to be both in the underworld and in the kingdom of gods. So it has this ability to move freely because it's the divine child, and the divine child is just exploring itself, and it's like innocence manifested. The fifth power archetype is the warrior, and the warrior is associated with the planet Mars. It has domination power, and with this power to dominate, this is an interesting one because it's not about dominating others, it's about dominating things within yourself. The Jungian archetype is the warrior, and the power animal is the bison. The Mahavidya associated to the warrior is Baglamukhi. I want to start off with Baglamukhi because in her image, she's one of the 10 tantric goddesses. She is holding a demon by the tongue, and she has power over him. So there is something about the warrior starting off with the tongue, starting off with our words, and with dominating speech, because a speech is the beginning of action, and thought is the beginning of speech. So whenever we embody this archetype, we have the power of dominate lower forces in ourselves and just stop them on its tracks. It's like, I will not continue feeding this. No more of this energy. Because there is this internal power to just cut things through, the way that it manifests externally is a woman whose presence, whenever maybe there's like a group of people that are talking certain things, her presence just stops the conversation. Or if somebody tends to say very offensive things, they will not dare say them in the presence of this woman, because her energy has this power to dominate, and it's like, this will not be spoken of in my presence. Now, the power animal being the bison, it has this force, power, strength. It's like, it's unmovable. That's why I said that a woman with this archetype tends to just be the one that if somebody is going off about something, they wouldn't dare say that in front of her, in her presence. This bison energy gives her weight, regardless of how dainty her voice is or how deep her voice is. It just has this energetic weight. The following archetype, I think it's the sixth one, yes, is the Creatrix. And the Creatrix is associated with the moon. And it has the power to grow and nurture. Growth and nurture come naturally to this woman. The Jungian archetype associated to the Creatrix is the Great Mother. And the animal is either the elephant or the whale. And the Mahavidya associated with this power archetype is Bhuvaneshwari. So, in order to grow and in order to nurture, there needs to be a space, right? That's why the power associated with this archetype is the elephant and the whale, because they are massive. They take up so much space. And these gentle creatures are very maternal in nature. And this is the lesson of these animals. And a woman that embodies this power naturally is one of those people that just in their presence, you feel like you just got revitalized. It's like you received just water, life water and milk and warmth and an energetic hug in their presence. They also have the ability of growing people's ideas. So if somebody comes to a woman that naturally embodies the Creatrix with something like, oh, I'm thinking of doing this, they live with a business plan. It's like their essence just naturally has the power of growing whatever they're putting attention to. And if they put attention into another person, then there is growth there. But the key of all of these archetypes is to project that energy onto ourselves and to see what comes. So a woman that naturally embodies this is just deeply compassionate. She is the mother of the group, regardless of her age. I've seen little girls that have this mother archetype so alive in them. And you do have to be careful with self-sacrifice, because the mother archetype is very exploited in the modern world. It's almost like it's the only place that women have in society, and because of that it's deeply exploited. So this particular archetype really needs to learn how to set boundaries, and then maybe work with the warrior and with the guardian and try to nourish those aspects itself, because it's needed, especially in, like I said, in the world that we live in today. Following archetype is the witch. And the witch is associated to Neptune or Ketu in Vedic astrology, and she has illusion power. There's also a gift that comes with this power of illusion, which is healing. The Jungian archetype associated with the witch is the wise elder, and the power animal are either the owl or the crow. The Mahavidya associated with this is Dhumavati. So let's start with Dhumavati, because she is a Mahavidya that is not very liked. She represents the aspect of life that happens after destruction, like disillusionment and the emptiness and the void. She's also the representation of poverty, illness. So remember that I said that the tantric power is the illusion power, yet she has the gift to heal. So there's something about the illusion and healing, because healing of its own is a form of removing illusion, the illusion of distortion, the illusion of the stories, but also the wisdom to understand how real it is. This illusion comes into like it's real, but it's also not real. And whenever I'm able to connect these two truths, that it's real and not real, healing happens. Because healing happens whenever I find completion and wholeness, and I realize I am whole. I wasn't broken, I am whole. So women that tend to embody the witch archetype, they are the natural healers. They hold profound wisdom, and also they understand the gift of solitude. These women tend to walk through life alone, and that is how they expand and grow their gifts, is through solitude and through really facing and acknowledging the darker side of life by witnessing it and healing it in themselves and in their environment. Some of the wounds that come with this archetype are persecution, disillusionment, the rejection of aging, also that this is a shadow aspect of it. But because Neptune is a planet that represents dissolution, transcendence, going back into the oneness. If you just go into the oneness and this dissolution, that's whenever you have all this association and disembodiment and women that turn out very confused. Dhumavati and the witch archetype, she is here. She is grounded. That's why she's able to tap into the dissolvement of life and the dissolution of things, because she knows she's here. She can witness the pain of poverty, of illness, of all the horrible things in the world, hold the pain, and then also give it its own medicine in her body. Dhumavati as the crown is the one that embodies the wisdom that we find in endings and in spiritual detachment. And the spiritual detachment, that's the connection with Ketu in Vedic astrology. The next archetype is the sorceress. The sorceress is associated with the planet Pluto. Pluto is the planet of raw power, also shadow and darkness. Her tantric power is seduction power. And she has the gift to transform, to alchemize, to burn things down. Her gift is basically the gift of the phoenix. The Jungian archetype associated to the sorceress is the hero or heroine, and the power animal is the panther. She's also associated with the Mahavira Vairavi, and Vairavi is on fire. She is this heated goddess that burns down illusions, and it transforms everything that needs to be transformed. Whatever is meant to end, decay, death, Pluto, Vairavi transforms with her heat. The panther is a power animal that whenever you interact with its energy, what it triggers the fear and the power of transcending that fear and alchemizing fear into power. So the sorcerer with this seduction power, the reason why she has the seduction power is because she attracts into her life things that need to be transformed. She is fire. Therefore, things get seduced into her realm to go through this transformation, which is a blessing because sometimes we do need that fierce transformation. And it also holds the inner trials that we have to go through whenever there are parts of ourselves that need to die to give room and space for other parts to come alive. She gives us the strength to do that. The next archetype is the Liberator. And the Liberator is associated with the planet Uranus, or in Vedic astrology, Rahu. Her tantric power is awakening power, and she has the power to liberate. The Jungian archetype associated with the Liberator is the trickster, and the power animal is either the anaconda or the snake. The Mahavira associated with the Liberator is Chinnamasta. Now, start with Chinnamasta because this is the self-decapitated goddess, and the imagery is also very strong because it's this goddess that took off her own head, and then she is feeding her attendants, her devotees, with her own blood. It's almost like it's the power of thunder. Whenever there is a truth so absolutely radical that shatters all parts of you, and you find freedom, you're experiencing the power of the Liberator. Women that naturally embody this, they have this sharp, electrifying way of serving their medicine. The Liberator appears in women that pursues freedom beyond societal norms. So maybe an activist that is just going for it. Maybe a woman who breaks from traditional paths. Maybe every woman in her family followed this particular thing and did this particular thing, and she feels an absolute soul no to that, and she breaks from tradition, but usually in a very dramatic way, because we have to remember that the Liberator is also connected with Rahu, and Rahu in Vedic astrology is the part of us that it just wants what it wants. It's like desire embodied, and desire is a blueprint for what our souls are meant to experience. It is a path showing us what is it that we want to explore in this lifetime. So because Rahu is there and Uranus is there, Uranus is the epiphany, is the thunder. Usually this woman is not like their parents wanted them to be a doctor and they ended up being a lawyer. It's like they wanted them to be a doctor and they ended up, I don't know, in a jungle becoming a shaman. Something like that, where there's a thread, but it's completely radically different and not accepted. Yet she freed herself from this curse of having to follow whatever was told. The last archetype is the Empress, and the Empress is associated with Venus. She has manifesting power and the gift to fulfill. The Jungian archetype associated with the Empress is the lover, and the power animal is the swan. The Mahavira is Kamala. So this is one of the most beautiful and gentle power archetypes. And the path of the Empress is not easy, because in order to be able to manifest this gift of fulfillment for herself and others, she has to direct all of that love first into herself. Only from that fullness she's able to give more. And the swan is interesting because whenever we see the mating dance of swans, it looks like two twos and also a heart, but it's like a mirror. It's not something outside of myself that I seek to complete. Is I am this beautiful swan and I attract this other beautiful swan, and then in that we find this fulfillment. So even though it's one of the archetypes that we all want more of, it is one that does require us to go through the other 9 archetypes, because all of these other archetypes are gonna create enough space, freedom, healing, power, protection, and safety in order to really gently pour into ourselves to be able to embody this essence of the Mahaviriya Kamala. Kamala is the nectar of liberation, is the sweetness. Venus is also a planet associated with wealth, money, abundance, pleasure. So pleasure comes at the cost of allowing ourselves to feel everything. And we start by feeling like we always want to feel the good things, but we start mastering this art of feeling by learning how to feel and how to sit with the more uncomfortable parts of feeling. An interesting thing here is that Kamala is the tantric form of goddess Lakshmi. And Lakshmi, whenever we look at images of Lakshmi, she's sitting on top of an owl, which is supposed to represent Alakshmi, her sister Dhumavati, her older sister. So the older sister of Lakshmi, of Kamala, is Alakshmi, Dhumavati, this goddess that embodies the opposite. So this gives us a clue. To embody the Empress archetype, we have to master Dhumavati, which is the aspects of life that are terrible to look at. Poverty, illness, pain, suffering. And whenever we find the wisdom of Dhumavati, we have created enough space in our hearts and in our life to embody Kamala. And with the embodiment of Kamala and connecting with the beauty and the grace of the swan, and being able to first be a good lover to ourselves before we share that love with other people, we get this manifesting power and we fully embody the Empress. So I know that was a little bit long, and this is just a foundation so you have an idea of these power archetypes. Now that you know the 10 power archetypes, I want to invite you to start exploring. From listening to them and looking at the symbols and just some of the connections associated with them, which one do you feel more connected to? And which one do you feel that is really far away from you? Just like with everything, awareness is the first step to begin working with this. And once you know which is the power archetype that is more alive in you, you can start consciously working with it. When you work with these power archetypes, you are going to experience more confidence, more magnetism, and more fulfillment. This is the heart of Venusian Tantra, using these archetypes as a personalized spiritual system for feminine individuation, for feminine maturation, not only psychologically, but spiritually as well. This will give you emotional mastery and sexual sovereignty, so you can consciously use your sexual energy for your creations, for your life. Another thing to keep in mind is that your archetype is not fixed. It evolves as you heal, as you grow, and as you reclaim more aspects of your power. Eventually, you'll be able to tap into the 10 archetypes. They become these guides, these buckets where you can organize your life. Everything that happens, it's a way of structuring things and not getting lost in the noise, but grounding your own growth and your process of individuation into your everyday life and making your everyday life your spiritual path, spiritualizing the mundane and the little things and the big things. This is the beginning of your journey towards yourself. So please comment below which one of the 10 archetypes did you feel most connected to and which one triggered you. I would love to know. I'll see you guys in the comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And in the next video, I'm gonna share my story of how I turned my deepest wounds into raw magnetic power using Venusian Tantra. You now know the heart of Venusian Tantra, which is the 10 power archetypes. So I will share more on how this actually looks in practice in the next video. So I will hope to see you there next time. Bye bye.